Pricing an electrical job, such as wiring a boat duct, requires careful consideration of several factors. These factors include labor, materials, and overhead costs. Let's break down each of these components. Labor costs are typically the most significant portion of an electrical job. Skilled electricians with experience in marine wiring often charge between $500 and $1,000 per day. The actual rate depends on their expertise, the complexity of the job, and the local market conditions. For a boat dock wiring project, factors that influence labor time include the length of cable runs, the number of circuits, and the ease of accessing the work area. Material costs encompass the cost of the electrical panel, breakers, cables, and any other components needed for the installation. For a 100 amp main lug-only panel, the cost can range from $500 to $1,000, depending on the brand and features. Breakers typically range from $10 to $30 each, depending on the amperage and type. The cost of cables varies based on the type, gauge, and length required. Underground feeder cable, or UF cable, is commonly used for boat dock wiring due to its resistance to moisture and sunlight. When estimating cable costs, it's crucial to account for waste and extra length needed for connections. Overhead costs cover expenses such as insurance, travel, and equipment. Electricians need to maintain liability insurance to protect themselves and their clients in case of accidents or damages. Travel costs include fuel, vehicle maintenance, and any other expenses related to getting to and from the job site. Equipment costs involve the depreciation and maintenance of tools, ladders, and other equipment needed for the job. A reasonable allowance for overhead is typically between $250 and $500, depending on the size and scope of the business. To illustrate the cost breakdown, consider a hypothetical boat dock wiring job. The job involves replacing a 100 amp main lug-only panel, running 20 amp circuits for lighting, a 50 amp circuit for a power pedestal, and multiple 20 amp circuits for boat lifts. The cable runs vary in length, ranging from 100 to 180 feet. Let's assume that the job can be completed in 2 to 3 days by a skilled electrician. The existing conduit is in good condition and can be reused, and the materials listed are sufficient for the job. Based on these assumptions, the labor costs would range from $1,000 to $3,000, which is 2 to 3 days multiplied by $500 to $1,000 per day. Material costs would range from $500 to $1,000, depending on the specific component selected. Overhead costs would range from $250 to $500. Therefore, the total estimated cost for the job would be between $1,750 and $4,500. When pricing electrical work, it's important to consider several factors. Firstly, the complexity of the job. More complex jobs require more time and skill, which translates to higher labor costs. Secondly, the materials required. The cost of materials can vary significantly depending on the type, quality, and quantity needed. Thirdly, the local market conditions. Electricians in areas with higher demand or higher cost of living typically charge more. Fourthly, the electrician's experience and expertise. More experienced electricians may charge higher rates, but they can also complete the job more efficiently and with high quality. Lastly, any special considerations. Factors such as working in confined spaces, dealing with hazardous materials, or working during evenings or weekends can increase the cost of the job. To determine a fair price for an electrical job, it's recommended to obtain multiple quotes from different electricians. Compare the quotes carefully, paying attention to the scope of work, the materials specified, and the labor rates. Don't automatically choose the lowest quote, as it may indicate lower quality work or hidden costs. Ask the electricians for references and check their online reviews. Make sure they are licensed and insured. Discuss any questions or concerns you have before hiring them. When calculating wire size for electrical circuits, several factors must be taken into account to ensure safety and compliance with the National Electrical Code, or NEC. These factors include the ampacity of the conductors, the voltage drop, and the ambient temperature. The ampacity of a conductor is the maximum amount of current measured in amps that it can safely carry without overheating. The NEC provides ampacity tables such as Table 310.15b16 that list the ampacities of different types of conductors based on their size, insulation, and temperature rating. When selecting a wire size, it's essential to choose a conductor with an ampacity that is equal to or greater than the load it will be carrying. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its resistance. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or operate inefficiently. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to no more than 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To calculate voltage drop, you can use the following formula: voltage drop equals 2 times K times I times D divided by circular mils, where K is the constant for the conductor material, which is 12.9 ohms circular mils per foot for copper, I is the current in amps, D is the one-way distance in feet, and circular mils is the cross-sectional area of the conductor. The ambient temperature is the temperature of the surrounding environment. High ambient temperatures can reduce the ampacity of conductors, as they have less ability to dissipate heat. The NEC requires that conductors be deaerated when installed in high ambient temperatures. The deaerating factors are listed in Table 310.15b2 of the NEC. For example, if a conductor with an ampacity of 30 amps is installed in an ambient temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, its ampacity must be deaerated by a factor of 0.88, resulting in a reduced ampacity of 26.4 amps. To calculate the appropriate wire size for a circuit, follow these steps. Firstly, determine the load in amps. This can be done by dividing the wattage of the load by the voltage of the circuit. Secondly, select a conductor with an ampacity that is equal to or greater than the load. Thirdly, calculate the voltage drop using the formula mentioned earlier. If the voltage drop exceeds the recommended limits, increase the wire size. Fourthly, determine the ambient temperature and dearest the conductor ampacity if necessary. Fifthly, verify that the selected wire size meets all applicable NEC requirements. For example, let's say you need to calculate the wire size for a 20 amp circuit that will be used to power lighting fixtures. The circuit will be wired with type THHN copper conductors and will have a total length of 100 feet. The ambient temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Firstly, the load is 20 amps. Secondly, according to Table 310.15b16 of the NEC, a number 12 AWG THHN copper conductor has an ampacity of 30 amps, which is greater than the load of 20 amps. Thirdly, to calculate the voltage drop, we need to know the circular mils of a number 12 AWG conductor, which is 6,530 circular mils. Using the voltage drop formula, voltage drop equals 2 times 12.9 ohms circular mils per foot times 20 amps times 100 feet divided by 6,530 circular mils equals 7.9 volts. If the circuit is 120 volts, the voltage drop percentage is 7.9 volts divided by 120 volts equals 6.6%, which exceeds the recommended limit of 3%. Therefore, we need to increase the wire size to number 10 AWG. Fourthly, the ambient temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, which does not require any deaerating of the conductor ampacity. Fifthly, a number 10 AWG THHN copper conductor has an ampacity of 35 amps, which meets all applicable NEC requirements. In conclusion, when calculating wire size for electrical circuits, it's essential to consider the ampacity of the conductors, the voltage drop, and the ambient temperature. By following these steps, you can ensure that the wiring is safe, efficient, and compliant with the NEC.